guys. So it's 5 past, so I'm thinking let's start, and then everyone who's not here will just join us as we go. This session will be run by Seba and Bucci, so I'm really gonna let them do all the talking and I'll just sit back today. But welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I know you could have been anywhere else in the world, so thank you for putting the time aside to be here today. But I'm really not gonna say much. I'm gonna hand over to Seba and Bucci, and I hope you guys enjoy the session.
Hi everyone, I'm Seba and this is Bucci. And we're going to be facilitating your session today. So basically, I did ask everyone to read the little pieces of the little text that I sent on the group, but Bucci will read it again just in case anyone didn't get to it or life happened. So yeah.
Hi everyone. Today we'll be looking at phase 2, which is based on interrogation and reflection. The purpose of this phase is to equip the students with new knowledge regarding what is being done in the policymaking, technology, and film media sectors to combat gender-based violence. There will be a talk by AFRIKA's founders, technology, talk by Tafara Mkombe and Masidi team, which is part of the tech, talk by Butale Boikanyo, film and media. There will be 3 groups based on 3 chosen sectors, being policymaking, technology, and film and media, which includes broadcasting, publishing, and the internet. And then the students, you are expected to pick a group based on your interests. In these groups, you will be asked to do a research task based on what is being done to combat gender violence in South Africa in the various sectors. An example of what is expected will be provided to you. So you will then go on to research and analyze how the existing measures within your chosen sector have impacted the issues of gender-based violence. And also analyze how the existing measures have impacted gender-based violence in South Africa. You will be using tools such as the SWOT analysis, which are your strength, weakness. And the last point, you will each present your findings to the rest of the students. You will be allowed to have a Q&A in which the students can ask each group questions on your own enlightenment.
So if you have questions about what she just read, please raise your hands. Is anybody confused? Okay, no. I just want to make sure that everyone here also has a group. I'm pretty sure everyone here has a group and everyone here is, attached to a group on WhatsApp. If not, can you also please raise your hands? Okay, cool. So basically, guys, what's supposed to be happening today is that you're supposed to be presenting. And I just want to get an idea from everyone, how ready are you or how much research have you done into your particular sectors to present today? Is anyone here feeling like they could go today or not? Please, can you raise your hands or unmute yourself? So I take it that everyone still needs time to do research, right? You just give me a thumbs up if you do. Okay, cool. So guys, what's going to happen today is that, you're going to do research into your particular sectors, into finding out what measures of GBV are being done there that are existing. So what measures in technology are being done? What measures, so for an example, we had a speaker 2 weeks ago, it was Tafara, and he had the Masidi app. So just finding out examples in the technology sector. So just finding out examples that you can use to help you understand what solution you'd like to adopt in the GBV journey. So I'm going to give you guys an hour. We could do the whole session if it's necessary, but we're going to try and use this hour to just speak to each other, try to find ways to find solutions to your GBV sectors, do more research into your GBV sectors, find statistics on your GBV sectors, and then come back and present to the group. And obviously anyone who has questions about what you have to say will pose those questions. Is anyone unclear? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So I will then mute myself on the side, but can you guys just please engage with each other during this session and during this meeting? You can use your WhatsApp groups, you can use other platforms, obviously on another device because you're using this one to make sure that you're here with the meeting and with us. But yeah, if you have any questions, please raise your hands and we'll see you here on the screen and we'll attend to you. Okay, guys, I'm going to give everyone 2 more minutes just to rejoin. And in 2 minutes, I'll start. I'll actually be hearing from you guys as to see like, how's it going, what you've been doing. And then, yeah, we'll take it from there. Okay, I'll just start. Pearl and Michelle, can I please hear from the both of you guys how you're feeling about the research and if you have enough to present or, oh, here is Abedi. But either one of you can start, Michelle.
Okay, thank you. We have researched enough, and Paul will start us off by explaining what gender-based violence is, and then I will come up and talk about the laws that are researched on.
Sorry, before you start, I just want to make sure there are 2 groups, right? There is film and media and there's policymaking. And both of those groups are ready to present.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Film and media sector is not ready for today.
Okay. So, okay, can we say this now? How about we do policymaking today? Former media will present in next week's session before we start. We'll hear you. Is that fine?
Perfect, thank you.
Policymaking, are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, Lafayette, can you please maybe, oh, sorry. So you're saying you wanna record this part as well?
Yeah, the recording is gonna continue and then I'll just edit it once the entire meeting's over.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so you can just continue, as normal.
Okay, cool.
All right.
All right, then policymaking, can you please hear from you guys? Yeah.
Hi everyone, I hope everyone is doing well. My name is Pearl and I will just present on policymaking. I'll just explain what gender-based violence is and the different types of gender-based violence and abuse. So in simple terms, gender-based violence is violence directed against a person because of their gender. And then we have different types of gender-based violence. We have domestic violence, which is violence committed by someone in the victim's domestic circle. So a domestic circle is basically described as a person that has a close relationship with the victim, which is family, which can be a family member, a partner, or other relatives or family friends. And then we have verbal abuse. Verbal abuse is described as a range of words used to manipulate, intimidate, maintain power and control over someone. For example, insults, humiliation, or name calling. And then we have physical abuse. So physical abuse involves the regular and deliberate use of a range of words and non-physical actions used with the purpose to manipulate, hurt, weaken, frighten a person mentally. And then we have emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is described as non-physical behavior that belittles another person, which can also include insults, threatening, or verbal threats. And then we have, lastly, I'll just discuss that today. Lastly, we have rape. Rape is a type of sexual assault carried out against a person without that person's consent. The act may be carried out by physical force, abuse of authority, or against a person who is incapable of giving valid consent. So that is my definition of gender-based violence and the different types of violence and abuse that we have.
Hi, everyone. So I basically researched on the measures and the laws that have been put in place to protect people against gender-based violence. The measures that have currently been put in place to combat South Africa's gender-based violence issues are the laws put in place to protect citizens from it, such as the Domestic Violence Act, the Criminal Law Amendment, open bracket, Sexual Offences and Related Matters, close bracket Act, and the Protection from Harassment Act. So there are many other laws, and all these laws offer notable protection for women and children, etc. And I put in etc to show the male gender and so forth that are not highlighted. So apart from the legislative provisions, government has also moved to ensure that the police and our courts take a hard line on perpetrators of gender-based violence. Our police officers have been instructed to prioritize incidents of GBV, and our courts are mandated to deal harshly with those who commit violence and abuse, such as an example that I also read on about the KwaZulu Regional Court, which sentenced a man to 45 years for 3 counts of rape, and so many other examples. And if you research on them, you will see them. The establishment of the Ministry of Women have given further impetus to this drive, as has the Gender Equality Bill, which was introduced to accelerate the empowerment of women and attain 50-50 gender parity for the country. And regardless of all the laws and the measures that the government takes, we also play a part by ensuring that women and child abuse is not only highlighted during the 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children campaign or in Women's Month. The issue must remain at the forefront of all our thinking throughout the year. And also about what the government can do further, such as to continue to take the lead by enforcing women empowerment legislation and by ensuring that the courts and police arrest and prosecute those who are guilty. Government leaders must also be seen to be above reproach on issues on women empowerment, and those who are implicated in cases of gender-based violence should be encouraged to do the honorable thing. We must continue to ensure that the private sector, civil society, individuals, labor, and ordinary citizens are active participants in ending the scourge of gender-based violence. We must continually reinforce that this is a societal issue that needs the support of all South Africans, and also by standing up for those that are in need, such as if you have a family member that is going through this, by not only being of comfort, but by encouraging them to report it, and if they do not have the strength, for you to act on behalf. And then with the question, let me just open it. Second question, which reads, how have the various measures succeeded and or failed at resolving South Africa's gender-based violence issue? So from research, with all the laws that have been put on and with all the harsh enforcement that have been put in place, these are meant to help us. But regardless of all these things, we still see that, well, from the research that I got, where it says that Statistics South Africa's 2016 Demographic and Health Survey shows that an average 1 in 5 South African women older than 18 years have experienced some type of abuse. So regardless of all these laws that have been put in place, we still see that a lot of women are going through abuse. So can we really ever say that it is working or is it not working? But we can't ever take away from what women have been going through. So it's supposed to work, but it's not working entirely. Thank you. And if Pearl has something to add on, she can.
Yes, I think also there's another, what we said we will discuss today is what we will do going forward. So we have decided that what we will do going forward is that we will put our own policies that we think will work in place. We will put them in place so that they help with the situation. So for example, one policy that I thought of that is everywhere on social media is the policy of the I believe you policy. I personally think that we should not necessarily change that policy, but have it work better. Because the minute a lady comes up and says, I've been raped, and we all jump to say, I believe you, I believe you. It gives an opportunity to all the rape apologists to say, yeah, you're feminist, that's what you believe. So I personally feel like we should find a way to make that work, because now it's been said a lot that it doesn't have impact anymore. The moment you say, I believe you, it's like you're another person that is just a feminist that doesn't care if the man, or that doesn't care about men, because men do go through violence as well. And when we jump to say I believe you, it makes us look as if we're not paying attention to everything. We're just jumping to believe the woman, even if not hearing the man's side of the story. No, also once we jump to say I believe you, you will get a lot of rape apologists coming in saying but this and this happened to this man and it was false accusations, this and this happened to this man and it was not true. So I think that going forward we should try bring out our own policies. That is just an example of one. I think we will have more policies or more ways to fight this problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the policymaking sector. Guys, I'm going to ask a quick favor. How camera ready is everyone? Is everyone willing to please put on their cameras? Please can I get a thumbs up if it's a yes, or a thumbs down if it's a no. Just we have thumbs down. Okay, thank you, Michelle. Okay, the reason I'm asking is because we're here with the film crew and they want to just have footage of us discussing things with each other. So I'm going to ask that you guys please, the policymaking sector, can you guys please just say what you needed to say what you said before, but now we'll just be filming it. So literally what you just say it okay, but we'll say it again, but we'll just be filming it. And can we please just have our cameras on?
So do we have to go again presenting everything from scratch?
Yes, please, let's do that. Just so that they have enough footage. Will you be able to put your camera on?
Oh, I'm a mess, but I will.
It's okay. Lebo, will you be able to put your camera on?
Yes.
Okay, can we please have them all on now because they're filming now?
So should I start from the beginning again?
Yes.
Okay, I will start again by explaining what gender-based violence is and the types of gender-based violence and abuse that we have. So gender-based violence in simple terms is violence directed against a person because of their gender. And then the different types of gender-based violence, we have domestic violence, which is violence committed by someone in the victim's domestic home, which can be your immediate family member, your partner, other relatives, or family friends. And then verbal abuse is a range of words used to manipulate, intimidate, and maintain power and control over someone. Example, insult, humiliation, and name calling. And then we have psychological abuse. Psychological abuse involves the regular and deliberate use of range of purpose to manipulate, frighten, or physical behavior that belittles another person, which can include, again, insults, threatening, or verbal threats. And then we have rape. Rape is a type of sexual assault at person's consent. The act may be carried out by physical force, abuse of the authority, or against the person who is incapable of giving valid consent. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So I basically just researched on the measures and the laws that have been put in place to protect people against gender-based violence. The measures that have currently been put in place to combat South Africa's gender-based violence issues are the laws put in place to protect citizens from it, such as the Domestic Violence Act, the Criminal Law Amendment, open bracket, Sexual Offences and Related Matters, close bracket, Act, and the Protection from Harassment Act. All of these laws offer notable protection for women and children, etc., in regards to men and those that identify themselves as non-binary and so forth. Apart from the legislative provisions, government has also moved to ensure that the police and our courts take a hard line on perpetrators of gender-based violence. Our police officers have been instructed to prioritize incidents of GBV, and our courts are mandated to deal harshly with those who commit violence and abuse. And we can see this by the many examples which are highlighted, such as the KwaZulu Regional Court sentenced a man to 45 years for 3 counts of rape. And if you do research, there are many other examples that are shown. The establishment of the Ministry of Women have given further impetus to this drive, as has the Gender Equality Bill, which was introduced to accelerate the empowerment of women and attain 50-50 gender parity for the country. As much as the governments can put all these laws, we also as citizens need to play our part by ensuring that women and child abuse is not only highlighted during the 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children campaign in a Women's Month. And this issue must remain at the forefront of our thinking throughout the year. And governments could also continue to take the lead by enforcing women empowerment legislation and by ensuring the courts and the police arrest and prosecute those who are guilty of GBV. Government leaders must be seen to be above reproach on issues on women empowerment, and those who are implicated in case of GBV should be encouraged to do the honorable thing. We must continue to ensure that the private sector, civil society, individuals, labor, and ordinary citizens are active participants in ending the scourge of GBV. We must continually reinforce that this is a societal issue that needs the support of all South Africans. And just to add on, in terms of how not only being a means of comfort for either friends, relatives, but also playing your part by speaking out for them when they have no voices. And thank you so much. And Pearl, to add on.
Okay, I think the last question was, what are we going to do going forward? I think as policy making, what we should do is we should put our own policies in place, policies that will help the problem, that will help solve the problem or better the situation. One of the policies that I come across most of the time, or one of the policy that I come across most of the time rather, is the I believe you policy that is all over social media. I believe that policy worked to a certain extent. Now, the moment you say, I believe you, you give, I feel like, personally, I feel like you give an opportunity to rape apologists to say, to call you a feminist, because mostly we women are the ones that use that policy. So I feel like the moment you say, I believe you, without clear context of everything, you are giving the rape apologist an excuse to say, of course you will believe because you're a woman. Of course, women always have to be believed or something like that, because then they will come out and pull out files like, but who was falsely accused of this and that, and no one did anything and it was not a problem. So I believe that's I believe you statement should not necessarily change, but should be used in a way that will now have impact again as it did when it started. And we should also educate people on what to say. We should also educate on what to say so that they do not come out as rape apologists or apologists of gender-based violence. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Does anyone have any questions for what you've just heard from policymaking? Okay, I have one. I just want to ask policymaking, have you looked at other policies that indirectly affect GBV? So maybe looking at a corruption policy and making sure, for example, if you look at a corruption policy, making sure that you strengthen the consequences and the laws that govern that particular crime to ensure that it is not a hindrance to the fight in GBV. Do you get what I'm saying?
Can you please rephrase your question? I didn't really understand it.
I mean, looking at laws that indirectly affect GBV. So we know that a lot of GBV efforts are disrupted by corruption that goes on in the country. So maybe looking at other laws as well that like, okay, how does corruption legislation look like? Is it the strongest that it can be? Are there any improvements that we can do so that we can ensure that this particular crime isn't hurting us being able to continue our efforts for GBV? So I'm just asking, have you looked at indirect policies that indirectly affect GBV?
Well, no, we really didn't have that much time to go in depth with that. But just to add on something from the top of my head, in terms of like how you said, corruption is something that indirectly affects GBV in terms of how people tend to protect their people. You know, whether it's in governments, whether it's in family homes, in terms of men supporting men. I think we have all heard of such incidents a lot of times. So I think the people that are involved, maybe not at the forefront, but for them to also be held accountable. If you knew about it and you decided not to say anything about it, you should also be held accountable, because I'm not too sure of the saying where it's you are guilty by association. So in terms of that, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I was asking, sorry, let me go, yes.
This isn't like a proper policy, but it is like a hindrance to like the full potential of like preventing gender-based violence. Like hotlines, I remember looking at like hotlines and how there was a hotline for like victims to call, like 24-hour hotline. And some like, I know, wait, so I'm just gonna look it up again. The staff and like loans and wages for that, it wasn't like rigid, like it wasn't a 24-hour workday, and a lot of victims had like out of date information, and it was also hard for victims to like talk about their experiences because they felt as though they were afraid their abuser would hear them. I don't know if it was like recorded calls as well. It was just very unprofessional, and there wasn't enough government funding for those. And yeah, so hotlines, it was like around 2014, like before the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, I don't know about hotlines then, but like just before the pandemic, hotlines weren't really a strong thing for victims to like lean on.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, guys. So this is just ideas that we're throwing around, but suggestions that you can use to move into the next phase of the program. I just want to ask, is there any other comments, any other questions that you have, or you've just heard with policymakers, any other suggestions that you might want to help them with in terms of moving forward? Okay, cool. It's almost time to be done. I know tomorrow, so not tomorrow, next week. Thank you so much. Next week, we'll be hearing from Form and Media. So we'll be hearing from you guys first, and then we'll be taking suggestions, questions, any improvements, and then we'll move into our next phase, which is innovation. And I will send a screenshot of what's required of you on the group, as well as what you'll be addressing during that time. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. And this is like what we're doing here is basically what we want this program to be about. We want you guys to be informed, but we also want you guys to interrogate each other, help each other out, and think about ways in which you then want to, leave your mark in your particular sector. So yeah, guys, I don't know if Rich wants to add anything. Thank you all for putting on your cameras. I know it's a tough one, but I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week. Have a lovely Thursday. Bye, everyone.